Hello and welcome back to round 2 of Buzzword-thon. Buzzword-a-thon is a readathon put together by the lovely Kayla, where she's given us one prompt for every month of the year. I am using this readathon to visit my library more and go and scour the shelves with my eyeballs to find a book that fits that prompt in maybe a genre I've never read from, or I don't read enough from an author I've never heard of. Basically, trying to find a book that I've never heard of that fits the prompt that I can read for the month to expand my reading horizons, basically. Let's go to the library.
Beneath the starlit sky, our love's secret line, like leaves we soar so high. Beneath the moonlight, self-touch your hand in mine, gets me every time. Lost in the city lights, our love's electric ride. You make me feel alive. I know July is gone. You make me feel at home in the neon glow. As the leaves change color, I dive into you. When summer's fading, there's nothing to do but bask in the glory of the winter.
So, the book that I have got this week, much quicker than last week. Oh my god, it was so much easier to find books with positive things in their titles. I did not say that before. The prompt this month is to find a book with a positive word in its title. I got this. I Couldn't Love You More by Esther Freud. When was this published? Because I've never heard of this. Cool, so first published 2021. Let me read you the blurb. London in the 60s, schoolgirl Rosaline meets the famous sculptor Felix Lichtmann. Felix is dangerous, bohemian, and at first their life together is glitteringly romantic. But when Rosaline finds herself suddenly alone, she seeks help from the only source she knows, the local priest. From Ireland in the 30s to London in the 90s, miraculously unravelling the lives of 3 women, separated in time but entwined by fate, I Couldn't Love You More is an unforgettable novel of mothers and daughters, wives and muses, secrets and lies. So, I did have quite a lot of choice when I went to the library. I could have picked up Emily Henry, I could have picked up the book I've forgotten the name of with the really cool cover. Thank you. Which all looked really good, and I wondered if this was the time for me to dip my toe into the Emily Henry pond, but I'm not really a romance person, and I don't think specifically I'm that flavour of romance person. So this is what appealed to me, because it's spread across London to Ireland. I find multiple timeline books a little hit or miss sometimes, but I'm intrigued by this one. I think this could be quite good. I think this might have the right flavour of female rage and vindication that I like in a book. I'm excited. I keep skipping past the part that was important, love being the positive word that I was aiming for. It is 344 pages long, so it might take me a little longer to read than the last one, but I'm more excited about this one than I was the last one. This is also not 5th in a series, which I think will help. I think that will benefit me a lot. So let's crack on and read this book. Right, we are in full goblin reading attire, and we're going to make a start on I Couldn't Love You More by Esther Freud, and we're going to see how I get on. I'm going to read for an hour because this is a 350 page book, and I'm not going to make myself read that in one sitting because I will go mad and my brain will come out of my ears. So that's not happening. I have my handy dandy timer, and we're going to see how far I get. I've already forgotten what the plot of this is, so fingers crossed it's good. The first bit of the author's bio has just caught me. Esther Freud trained as an actress before writing her first novel, Hideous Kinky, which was shortlisted for the John Llewellyn Rhys Prize and made into a film starring Kate Winslet. Never heard of it. So many beginning pages.
You're there this time.
It's told in 3 women's perspectives, and I think it's grandmother, mother, daughter. So we've been introduced to the daughter and the grandmother, but in the times that they are the same age. So the daughter is in 1991, the grandmother is in 1939. Already we've got heavy themes of church, I think it's Catholic Church, and their outdated stance towards unwed mothers. They are very much pictured as the bad guys at the moment. And then, so Kate is the daughter. Aoife, who's the grandmother, who's in 1939. She is with her husband, and they've picked up their daughter, who is 4 years old, who was sent away. I've forgotten the word. When everyone sent their children off to like the countryside because of the war to keep them safe. Oh my god, what is the word? You know what I mean. Anyway, so her daughter was sent away when she was 3 months old. She's 4 years old now, and they're picking her up. And they're having to deal with the fact that her daughter doesn't recognise Aoife or her husband Cash as her parents because she's grown up with this other lady in the country, which is a really interesting take on, oh, it was on the tip of my tongue, evacuees. They were evacuated, is that the word? Yeah, so it's a really interesting take on that era, on that bit of the war, because I've read lots of stories about the evacuees, but never from the point of a baby who is evacuated and is now having to reassess who her parents are, and she's not doing well with it, bless her, and I probably wouldn't either. I'm really interested. This definitely has potential to be a 5-star book, and I'm really interested to see how the author will juxtapose the 3 lives, because Kate, the daughter, who's in the 90s, she has taken a taxi to a convent with her young daughter, and when they got there she explained to the nun that I think my mother was in this convent and I think I was in this convent as a child, and the nun said basically, fuck off, don't be ridiculous, you can't be here, what on earth do you think you're doing here, you need to leave. Like, very angry and very hostile. So I definitely want more of her perspective, but obviously I'm not going to get what I want. So we've had Aoife's perspective, and now I'm reading Rosaline's perspective, who is the daughter who was evacuated, but this is set in 1959. So I'm really interested to see how she develops Rosaline's character based on her experience as a child. I'm really interested. This is so much better than the last book. Like, I'm into this. I might read more than just an hour.
Beneath an endless night, the world spins around. You're there, ease my mind. Like stars that never die.
Okay, I have feelings. I do not like Cash, who is the grandmother's husband. For one thing, the grandmother is called Aoife, and he calls her Eva, even though she's corrected him for like as long as she's known him, and he's angry all the time, he's a bit of a drunk, he snaps at his daughters, he's got 3 daughters now, but we only follow Rosaline's story. He's just a bit of a bastard, and I can definitely see a theme of these women going for men who are not great people and unhealthy relationships. And I'm getting a little confused because within the chapters that follow one woman at a time, they do jump around timeline wise quite a bit, and I'm trying to work out exactly how old Rosaline is supposed to be in this moment, because she's talking about being in her last year of school, but she's also seeing Felix Lichtman behind her dad's back, like without telling anyone, who is also a bad man and is not treating her very well, but it hasn't got to the stage where it's like overtly abusive just yet. Like it does feel like grooming at the moment, and that is uncomfortable. But given the state of her mother and father's relationship, I can understand why she's doing that. The fact that she was an evacuee for the first 4 years of her life is very clear. Like, the consequences of that is very clear now that we've seen her as, I'm assuming, a teenager. She's got a year of school left. What is she, like 17 maybe? She clearly can't do anything right in her parents' eyes. So I'm still hooked. This is the sort of book that is going to be infuriating and probably heart-wrenching, and is probably going to make me really angry, but in a good way. So we'll move on. Oh, now we get a chapter about Kate, so we probably get some more context on that. This is good. I'm happy. I'm enjoying it. Let's reset that timeline.
Neon blue. As the leaves change color, I dive into you. When summer's fading, there's nothing to do but bask in the glory of the winter sun. Maybe this is the season.
Okay, so I've read the first 50 pages. I like this book. I think it's got important themes running through it. I think it's got quite upsetting themes as well. So if you want to pick this up, be a little bit wary of the content. I think if you've got any triggers surrounding the Irish Catholic Church or domestic violence or unhealthy family dynamics or grooming, I can already tell there's going to be some grooming in this. Maybe give this one a miss, but so far I think this is written really well, and I really hope it stays that way. I'm excited to finish this book. I've had a couple of really pants DNFs recently, so this is a nice surprise. I thought this was going to be a bit of a hit or a miss, because it's not normally the sort of thing I read, but it does have topics that I'm quite interested in and quite like in TV dramas and stuff. So it's an easy slide into book form, really. Yeah, I'm gonna read some more. I'll catch you up on what I think later. Hello, new angle, because I'm horizontal and I don't want to not be horizontal. So hello. Whenever they mention the other women in another woman's chapter, I get this little burst of oh, it's the person. I know that one. And it's just, I don't know why I'm getting so excited about it. I know this is a story about 3 women, but every time they're oh, I know that one. I've read that one story. I know that. Ugh, I don't know. Maybe it's just been a long day, but I'm enjoying that aspect of this book. So far, this book has served me 3 interesting women who all have horrible men in their lives. Absolutely horrible, useless, good for nothing, manipulative, selfish bastards. There are 4 of them if we count dads as well. If I don't get vindication by the end of this book, I will be having words with the author or someone. There will be a strongly worded email going to somebody to express my irritation. If it does give me vindication, this could very well be a 5-star. So I am excited, but right now I'm wallowing in the he's horrible phase. Every single chapter with 4 different men. Okay, I won't lie, we are falling into irritating trope territory. In no particular order, we've got the drunk band guy who doesn't pay any attention to his partner. We've got the unplanned pregnancy with the guy who turns out to have a wife and a child that she didn't know about. We've got the 19-year-old who is dating the 40-year-old. Dating being a very, very loose word for the grooming that has been happening for the last 3 years of her life. And we have the almost alcoholic husband who doesn't really care about her, is also racist, and doesn't like one of their kids. There's lots of anger going on, but as long as I get vindication, it's okay. I do wish we'd gone for something slightly more interesting in the trope department, though. It's still okay. I'm still enjoying it. Different day, different hair, same position. I am on page 250 now of this book, and it's getting dramatic. It's getting even more infuriating. We have been introduced to some nuns who I would happily bury alive in a pit full of vipers. They're not nice people. They're abusive and they steal children and they beat people. And the amount of trauma and abuse that these nuns are responsible for is horrifying. And I think it's more horrifying because I know this is based on real attitudes that the Catholic Church in Ireland had towards unwed mothers and their babies. because they're literally, Rosalina's got pregnant. Her boyfriend is married and had a stroke, so his wife came into the picture and she ran away. Went to a priest for help. Priest sent her to a convent where he said she would get help. She gets to the convent. The nuns are bitches straight from the start. They treat her like she's dirt. They make her work from dawn till dusk while pregnant. There are 350 other unwed pregnant ladies at this convent church situation. They're all working dawn till dusk. They take their belongings away from them. Like, her suitcase is taken away from her at the start. They make them take new names while they're at the convent. And then when they have their babies, they pray they get the actual midwife from the town rather than one of the sisters, because the actual midwife will try and deliver your baby with some empathy, which is what you would hope, rather than the sister that makes you sit on a bedpan and beats you if you scream while in labour. This book is very good at making me angry. And then they will sell your baby to the highest bidder, and then they will make you stay on for 3 years to pay off your debts. Like, I'm furious. I'm really, really angry. And it sounds like they also make you sign away your rights to your baby, but they're like, no, you have to use your actual name, not the fake name we made you take. Like, you have to legally sign away your baby. I fucking hate these people. I hate them. They're horrible. I've only got this much book left though, so also, so she's in labour and like in a very horrible position. They didn't think she was going to live, to the point where they got the priest in to do the last rites. So they called her emergency contact, and she had put down her sister, but her sister didn't pick up. Her dad did. So her dad apparently has trotted all the way down to the convent, and we haven't yet been told what's happened. But we've also had a flash forward from Rosaline's mum's point of view, where the dad lies to her and said, oh yeah, they've had trouble on a neighbouring farm or something, I'm just going to head over and help, when he's actually going to the convent. So I want to see what happens, and I want to see if we can bring down her dad at the same time as these fucking stupid nuns that I don't like. I realise they're not going to defeat the nuns in any way, shape, sense or form, but a girl can dream. Oh, and Kate, the other lady, her partner is an alcoholic, and he is getting verbally abusive, and she is realising that she is better off without him, and I cannot wait to see that arc finished. Finished. I didn't get as much revenge as I wanted. It is a good book. It is a happy ending, but it is a more realistic ending than I wanted it to be. This book felt like watching an episode of Call the Midwife. Not that I've ever watched an episode of Call the Midwife, but I think I've seen enough clips to gather the idea, basically. I did enjoy this book. This felt like reading a guilty pleasure drama about women's lives. It was well written. There were like little Easter eggs dropped all over the place about who these people were and connections between the relationships in each woman's life that were quite good. I actually found this harder to read than some epic fantasies in terms of character names and place names and things like that, just keeping track of all the relationships, particularly across 3 POVs and 3 different timelines, where you weren't necessarily sticking to one time period within one POV. It got a bit confusing. This is going to be, I think this is a 4-star book for me. I might demote it to a 3.5, but right now I'm pretty happy with a 4-star rating for this. I would recommend this book if you think you would like a book like this. If this sort of book is your thing, absolutely I would recommend it. I think it's well written. I think it's well formed. I think it has good messages. It is very tropey, but I feel like this genre kind of is, and I don't know the genre well enough to know how rare. I don't know. This book feels like exactly what I thought it was going to be, and it didn't give me quite as much vindication as I was hoping, but there we go. I think this is a success. This is my first success with this readathon, this reading challenge, and I'm happy about it. It does occur to me that, because the prompt was obviously positive words in the title, the word I picked was love, because in my head that's a positive word. but having now read the book, I'm not quite sure I can realistically count this as a positive word anymore, given the nature of some of the love in this book. Please check the triggers off the top of my head: abuse, domestic violence, alcoholism, grooming, homelessness, abandonment, disownment by your family, racism as well. Not a lot, but there's like a generous amount. Overall, a success. I am chuffed.